Hello, flower friends. I want to talk about discipline today because I have heard people this last week talk about not having discipline and basically kind of almost like pointing the finger that because they don't have discipline, they're not making their goals happen. And while there might be some validity to it, I think that discipline feels hard because you're forcing yourself to do something. And anytime you're forcing yourself to do something, like, does that feel good? Does white knuckling it through something feel really in alignment with who you want to be? Does pushing yourself, doing something that's really, hard that just feels maybe even like I'm going to die? Does that feel like it's supporting the person that you want it to be? Not usually, but that's because your mind frame on this is that this is hard. And I've had many moments, many what I would say identities that even going and working out for an hour seemed so hard, like so terrible. But I had to build a strategy to change that. I had to start building a new identity of who I wanted to be. I did not want to be the person who, because I wasn't working out, I wasn't strengthening my heart. I was gaining weight. I was not strong. Like literally part of my identity right now is I want to be strong. I need to be strong because I want to lift my little boy he's 6 years old, he's getting bigger. I need to be strong because I need to move a wheelbarrow. I need to be strong because I literally shovel shit, you guys. And it is surprisingly difficult to do that. I need to be strong because I am training my animals to walk on a halter, and sometimes they're wily. Like, I have bruises on my legs from I got kicked this week, you guys, and I had one get really kind of wily and bucky being on the halter and, like, run into my leg, and, like, I need to be strong because of that's who I want my identity to be aligned with. I don't want to be the person that needs a man or needs somebody to help me do something because I'm not strong enough. So, shifting my identity to I want to be strong, I want to be healthy, not I need to work out because I'm supposed to. Those two things are drastically different identity shifts and mind frames about working out. Working out so that my mother passed away at 66 years old. It is very important. That's in 20 years, you guys, from where I'm at now. It is really important because I had children at 40 that I am around for him. I need to be healthy. I need to have the identity of being healthy, not doing things to my body like I watched people in my family do that basically ruined theirs. But I see so many people get into this pattern of abusing their body or not taking care of their body is a part of their identity until like you get pushed and then you say, I don't have discipline. It's because all of the habits that you have, all of your behaviors, all of your mindset are supporting this shitty version of yourself that has brought all of these bad behaviors that have led you to where you are. And you've trained your brain that that feels cozy, that feels safe. Anytime we're wanting to change our identity, our body wants to go and protect it. That doesn't feel good. Why are we changing? Everything's fine. Why are we doing everything? And our body is like in fight or flight mode anytime that we are trying to make these drastic changes that aren't in alignment with the human that you've been forever. So, discipline at that point is hard because you're fighting this old identity, you're fighting these old habits. And then you set these big ass goals and they don't happen. And then you say you lack discipline. But you don't need impeccable discipline to make things happen. You need strategy. I have strategies in place in my life that support the human that I want to be, the mother that I want to be. They support the health that I want. They support the business that I want. They support the human I want, making sure that I get to pottery class, making sure that I get time to go and take care of myself at doctor's appointments, all of those things. So if you do not have the identity that you are this new version of yourself because you've been really working on rewiring your identity, you need to start building habits and routines and really strategies to help set you for success. So I'll give you a couple examples that I personally have kind of integrated over the years. I used to be a diehard Mountain Dew. And notice I said Mountain Dew and not Diet Mountain Dew. I was drinking after I went to the doctor's office and I had gained weight over the years because I loved Diet Mountain Dew or Mountain Dew. Do you see that? I've rewired my identity that I love Diet Mountain Dew now. And I even subconsciously said it. So I used to love Mountain Dew. I was drinking 1,600 calories of Mountain Dew a day, you guys. 1,600 calories. And I just was like, oh my God, this is, what am I going to do? I love Mountain Dew. Oh my God, I love it. How am I going to change this? So I went and tried Diet Mountain Dew. I was like, who can drink this shit? This is gross. Oh my God. But I was like, okay, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to still keep gaining weight because I'm drinking 1,600 calories of Mountain Dew a day. So what I started to do is I started drinking one last can of Mountain Dew a day. And then I switched one of my cans to diet. And I switched my first can of the day because my body was in more in need or in want, basically, of the caffeine. So I made this really small shift. I'm going to drink one less can. And you could even do that, stagger that out. I could have just swapped one can out, then done that for 2 weeks, and then reduced or swapped 2 cans out. I staggered my input into investing into this change. I didn't go off and Thelma and Louise and say, I am no longer drinking Diet Mountain Dew. I'm going to start drinking Diet Mountain Dew today. No more Mountain Dew. Because then your body goes into this reaction. And then you're thinking, I need discipline. I need discipline. I need discipline. When, you got to have a lot of freaking discipline to make that happen. That is a really tough pill to swallow, going from 0 to 100 on a big change. Another example. So when I became pregnant, here I am loving, at the time it was Diet Mountain Dew, loving Diet Mountain Dew. I love Diet Mountain Dew, you guys. It's my favorite. And it's actually, I can honestly say, is my only bad habit. Because I do not smoke. I do not drink. I do not do anything that is really, like, shitty for my body. I don't eat meat. I work out, and so, like, Diet Mountain Dew is my one vice. And when I got pregnant, of course, one of the first things that I know is I need to reduce my caffeine consumption dramatically because it's not good for the baby. And I did this both with both babies. I went and there are not very many places that sell baby Mountain Dew cans, baby Diet Mountain Dew cans. So they're literally the little 3 or 4 inch, instead of the 5.5 to 6 inch cans. And I immediately changed my can size, went to a mini. And I then went immediately, my can size went to a mini. And then I staggered down every week. I basically reduced a can because I was drinking like 6 cans. That in the end, I got 2 baby cans of Diet Mountain Dew, which was well within my caffeine, kind of alignment that I was shooting for. But if I would have just gone and said, no Mountain Dew, I would have been strung out like a crack addict wanting Mountain Dew and like not been slowly working on supporting that change, rewiring my identity that like I am still someone that gets to enjoy this. I'm not suffering. I'm not, a lot of times when you're withholding, your body gets angrier. Your mind is like basically wanting to tell you to F off because you're doing things that are putting your body into this reactionary mode. So I've always staggered my success. Same thing when I went and I felt like I was having a heart attack, you guys. Like it was 3 years ago ish and it was maybe 4 years ago. I Bodhi did not sleep at night. He would wake up 5 to 6 times a night for the first 2 years of his life. I felt like a strung out crack addict again. Like, I never got good sleep. And then was COVID was happening and we were homeschooling and I had this baby that never slept and, then I had lost my mom. My husband worked all the time. And I wasn't really getting out of the house much. Weddings, I still had a good chunk of weddings, but I was like having to navigate this weird world of just a very stressful situation. And so my weight had crept up a bit and I was like, I need to, after I was in the urgency room, which is kind of like an emergency room here, but not with the weight as much. And I thought I was having a heart attack. And I actually thought, because at almost the identical age, my mom had a cardiac ablation. And I thought maybe I had the same thing because I researched on Google and before ChatGPT and it said that it was genetic. And they were like, you need to reduce your stress and you're not working out. You're not doing, you're not doing a ton of bad things for your body but you're not doing a ton of good things for your body right now, like working out. So then I was like, okay, how am I going to do that? Make this digestible, make it so I don't feel like my fingernails are being peeled off, and make it something that I'm actually going to change my identity because I just really did not enjoy working out. And so then I started doing a home workout and then I did it for 15 minutes and then I did it for 30 minutes. And I staggered this over probably like 12 weeks. I kind of upped the time. Then I was like, I really don't know if I'm doing this right. So then I actually hired a personal trainer to help hold me accountable for my workouts for that week and to kind of coach and guide me. And he had an app that I could actually pull up and do the workouts out of that, and it was really cool. And so then I started like changing, like, God, this isn't so terrible. This is doable. But then I wanted to bring that to the next level. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to join a CrossFit gym. I'm going to like go back and do CrossFit again because I felt like I wanted to be around people again. I wanted to push myself more. And I feel like when I'm in front of people, I can't half ass it like I do at home, probably with my shitty little weights that I had. So then I was like, I'm going to go 1 day a week. Then I decided I was going to go 2. Then I decided I actually hired the owner of the gym to do personal training 1 day a week for 45 minutes because I wanted an accountability partner. Because every time he asked me, when are you coming to class this week? And then that started layering in this new identity that I was someone who worked out. But it was a strategy. I didn't go in and just go, I'm going to become a person that works out 4 days a week. I became a person that laid out their workouts, what days I was going to go at the beginning of the week to set myself up for success. I asked my husband to hold me accountable to making sure that I went to the gym and I wasn't half-assing it. I'm not a person who enjoys half-assing it. I don't like that perception of half-assing it. So if I'm going to start working towards something, I want to really work towards it. And I want to know that I have his support. I have like then I started talking about on the podcast. Then I started like showing a video of like my cute new Noble shoes, which are the cutest. If you love flowers and athletic wear, Noble, and it's Nobull, has the cutest flower shoes, you guys. Like, I have 3 different pair. They are so fun. They're CrossFit based, but you could wear them pretty much for anything. They are absolutely just the funnest colors, and even the black ones that I have like fun flower patterns in the bottom. But then that's a great example. Like, once I started really building in those habits and I started, really taking those things seriously, I started rewarding myself. I think a lot of people, they work really hard on something and then they never reward themselves or they never step back and appreciate, like, look at this fucking badass thing that I've done. When I actually hit, so my big goal is I wanted to hit 130 pounds. And when I started this, I was like around 175. And so, like, when I went and hit that 130, I hover around, and I think it's weird to be talking about my weight, but who cares? Like, I hover right around 130 and I have for the last year to year and a half. And that's because I make sure that I'm setting up habits that if I can choose a habit that's better supporting of my end goal of being healthier, stronger, I'm going to choose that. Like, I'm going to try to choose that. And that might be just like one part. Let's just say that my strategy for a long time to help lose weight was eating keto. So part of my journey was I ate keto, which is kind of tricky when you're a vegetarian. I'm just throwing that out there. And so every time I would maybe choose a Impossible Burger, but with a lettuce wrap bun. Or I would choose a salad, but I'm making sure that I have like cheese and egg and all those things to support protein to get myself into ketosis. Those decisions are decisions that don't always need to be made last minute. Let's just say you are going out, and I have to do this often to make sure as a vegetarian I can even eat at a restaurant. So if you're trying to eat better, you could have a strategy to go, okay, yeah, I would love to go to wherever on Saturday night for a dinner. You could go and pre-look at the menu and say, okay, like, and this is when you're not hungry. You're not in the moment of the fun and the cocktails and the good times, and you can be like, what would support my current goals? If your goal is being healthy, if your goal is not drinking, if your goal is whatever, like, what could you look at ahead of time to help choose so you're mentally already committed when you're walking in? So then all of those easy, to like sway when you're looking at the menu and you're hungry and you're like, oh my God, like, look at they have fettuccine Alfredo. And oh, they have, and it comes with a garlic cheese toast. Sounds super healthy, right? But if you looked at the menu beforehand and you already knew that you were going to have a Cobb salad without onion or whatever, and you had already decided that, that is a strategy that is way going to support the healthier version that you want to be. Let's just say that you are trying not to drink. If you went and found a restaurant that had impeccable mocktails because you were maybe worried about going out with your friends and being the only one that isn't drinking, and so you were hesitant to potentially even go out with your friends because you were like, I don't want to not be drinking alcohol in front of them and make them feel like shit or whatever. You can go and find a fun restaurant to go to your friends with and have a mocktail. Like that, I do not drink. I have not drank for a year and a half, I think. And 2 years. 2 years now. But it is really fun for me to go and have a mocktail because I think that they're fun. I think they're usually very beautiful, and it gets the illusion of doing something fun like that people often associate with going out and drinking alcohol. Like the drink is pretty and the colors are pretty and the garnishment is pretty. You can still experience part of that. Just like I experience part of my Mountain Dew by switching to diet, by switching to baby cans. You can have those strategies to help support that version of you. You don't need just discipline. All right. The next part of having a strategy is laying out a plan. Just like I'm talking about in the moment when you're in the restaurant, making that good decision is really hard because you're hungry and you're looking at all the delicious options. If you spend half your time in decision mode, you're going to get not as much done. So, if you take and build strategy into what you're going to be working on in your business, you build strategy in that this is my plan for the next 3 months. I am going to work on this and this alone to work towards my goal. You're also making sure when you are building those goals, they are in alignment. All of these things that you're putting together are in alignment with those goals that are your main priorities right now. You can make sure that even on a weekly basis, which I have talked about my Sunday night prep several times, because that is a time, if you're going in and not planning your week, you've already lost your week. Because every day you're having to pause and make decisions. You're having to build strategies on the fly, which usually are more reactionary and not really strategies at all. I go in and map out my week. I have a calendar that I write on so everybody in the family knows what is going on, which helps mitigate me getting a million questions about, Mom, what's next? Or Jen, what's going on tonight? Look at the calendar, you guys. Bodhi is starting to read, and so like even now he can go over and look at it, and if it says his name, he knows that he has something going on. I want to set my week up for success and not failure. And part of that is laying out my workouts. Part of that is laying out when I'm going somewhere, especially now when I have to drive a large chunk of time. You guys, I drove 10 hours last week. 10 hours of time driving up to Minneapolis. That is a lot of time. I listen to a lot of podcasts. That's part of my strategy. I have a strategy when I'm driving. I'm going to listen to a audiobook or a podcast to actually get something out of that time instead of just drift and not get any value out of that time. So it's my self-development time. I have my CrossFit is mapped out. I have my doctor's appointments mapped out. I have activities for the children, like bringing Bodhi to jiu-jitsu. I'm mapping out my week so that I get the things that help support my goals. I'm mapping out when I have help here. I'm mapping out when I'm going to be gone for weddings so that people know and there's no surprises. I am planning my week so my week succeeds, not being reactionary the whole week, having to sit there in indecision, going, I don't know what to work on next. And guess what? Normally you don't work on shit. I've seen it time and time again. Life gets in the way. This happens. You're reacting to this world around you. And I have enough of having to react with the world around me, with being on the farm now. I don't need to add any more by not like planning. I will even have my calendar out a month ahead of time in Calendly, which people can book coaching calls or consultations. Like, I always felt like everything was an emergency. And now every week I go in and I double check, but I batch my whole calendar a month ahead of time. I do it usually a week out from the month. So I just did all of December's. And then every week, as part of my prep, I go in and I relook at my week to make sure that the availability hasn't changed. And then people can book something 3 weeks out. I used to always think that everybody needed to meet right now, like within the week. We got to get it done. And I was like dropping everything to have a fucking meeting. And it's really interesting. Most people wanted to schedule something like a couple weeks out. I was so shocked when I added a scheduling app that I have been running around for years thinking everybody has to meet like right now. And that was the farthest from the truth. But without that strategy, without implementing and removing calendar scheduling from my plate, like I would have never known that. I had to put a strategy in place that I wanted to clear up time going back and forth. And I was done with making Zoom fucking links. Like, I'm just having Calendly do it for me. I'm removing that whole item off my plate and removing the decision of me having to go back and forth with this person and just putting the decision in their court. That has made the process feel so much better for me because then I'm not the one that tweaked and twisted somebody's arm into going in to that time slot. They picked it. And you can set up reminders and all those things. Calendly is free for one appointment type. I currently have like 10 appointment types because I'll even have, if an a la carte person wants to have a really quick conversation and ask a couple questions, I'll do I think it's a, what do I call it? Something like a get to know you call or discovery call. Discovery call. So I have a 15-minute discovery call that pretty much covers anything that somebody wants to discover and ask me. And then I have mastermind girls. They get a 45-minute session with me every other month so that we keep making sure that we're moving their personal goals forward. And so I have that. I have my hour consultations that include design discussions. I have my 45-minute virtual so I just send whatever appropriate link and I check it every week. It's part of my strategy. I make sure that I have every type of call that I'm going to need. And Calendly is so cheap if you do end up getting more than the one. It's so cheap anyways. And then I just send them the link. It's removing obstacles. It's freeing up my time. And part of my strategy to making sure it's up to date is every Sunday I go in and make sure it's up to date. Super easy, super simple. Like it is so simple but strategy is simple. And I think that's what's kind of boring about it is that often I think people do flying by the seat of their pants, but you don't like the results that flying by the seat of your pants gets you. And then often will people, a long kind of joke that it's like on repeat. I've been a vegetarian since I was 10 years old, you guys. 10 years old. I was a very precocious little 10-year-old. And it was very much focused around like trauma around animals. And I told my dad I would never eat meat again, and I haven't. But when somebody hears or when I share with somebody that I'm a vegetarian, they're like, I could never do that. They say, I don't have the discipline. And that's just such an interesting concept to me because you don't have the discipline to not go and, eat a steak. Like, you don't need to have the discipline to not eat a steak. You need the discipline maybe this week to not eat a steak once. You need the discipline to maybe eat fish once, maybe eat a meat substitute once. Like, everybody has a strategy that they can put in place almost in lieu of discipline. And that is way more powerful than discipline itself. Discipline itself is often hard, trudging through Navy SEAL energy. And often because it does feel hard, your body's just fighting you. What if you just started building these habits, this plan, this strategy to start to develop this person that you're going to be, that you want to be? I have evolved the person that I am, and I guarantee you've evolved too. It's just showed up maybe in different ways. But if you have been trying to make goals and are not getting there, come and join the Floral CEO Mastermind. In there, next month, we are diving into planners because they are a key part, like a integral part in growing your wedding flower business. Then, the next month, we are actually going to build a plan. We are going to build a 2026 plan. We are going to reflect on this year. What worked, what didn't work. I absolutely love one of the mastermind girls is really into doing flower parties, which I think is so interesting, even the word flower parties. And every time, and I hope she proves me wrong, that this is a really good thing for her. But I always say step back. When something feels like is working, I always think it can work better because that's my personality. But for two, like I want people to really step back and start making fact-based decisions instead of feeling-based decisions. Because when you make fact-based decisions, there's nothing that you can really argue with. The numbers are what they are. And stepping back, and we're going to look at where you spent your time, what money you made from that time spent, and really get what is your return investments in different aspects of your business. I often also see in coaching so many different florists, everybody just having shiny object syndrome, and they're throwing anything because they lack the discipline. And I laugh about that because they really just lack the strategy. They lack the strategy to stay with something and push that initiative forward. And once they get pushback, and it doesn't feel good, it usually stops them dead in their tracks. So then it didn't work because they didn't have the strategy and then the plan to support that strategy to push through it. So we are going to build your 2026 plan. We actually have a goal planning party and start pushing through what can be our actual strategy and how we can build a plan around that strategy to support this business goal that you have, this personal goal that you have. Like, I know that one of my biggest goals was I wanted to get my kids off the bus. And I know that seems like a really small thing, but like, I just really wanted to get my kids off the bus. Like, I wanted to see their faces. I wanted to see them running with their backpacks. And like, that was important to me. And now, like, it's important to me that I'm here at morning at night so I can do chores. Like, I have to. Like, I'm the only one that does chores around here, you guys. Like, chores have been done twice by someone else. And that was because I was doing a wedding flip that turned into me staying for a tear down because of the time gap. And one of them, I don't remember the other one. I think I got like my nanny or something to do it. I have to like build habits that support those important things. And that took a plan of, okay, what does my week look like? How do I fit chores into that? How do you fit working out into that? How do you fit getting your kids off the bus? How do you fit like going to a yoga class, going to like, I fit Monday pottery in, which I have one more week and now it's switching to Thursday. So I'm going to have to I've already been reformulating what is my week going to look like, especially because I'm driving with going to pottery on Thursday. How can I change like that effectiveness of me going up there? Because I often would go to CrossFit right at noon. I would leave pottery 15 minutes early to get to CrossFit and so that I could get things on the road and then get home because it then would take an hour to drive back to the farm. And I want to do that before my kids get off the bus. So if you want strategy, if you want a plan, and if you want support and accountability, go check out floralceo.com/mastermind or check it out in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. I hope if you have big dreams, if you have big goals, and you're like, I have no clue where to even start, send me a DM. I'd love to support you. I'd love to cheer you on Instagram because I feel like we all need a little cheering on sometimes, a little like, you got this. And often, the people around us don't know that we need it. So thank you so much for listening, flower friends, and you have an amazing flower-filled week.